The more observant among you have probably picked up on the facts that I'm both white and male. What many of you probably don't know is I attended a fee-paying private school. Now, in the eyes of some, this instantly appears to disqualify me from having an opinion on any matter connected with or vaguely associated to race. This confected nonsense was superbly exposed by actor Laurence Fox on TV last week when he derided the notion Harry and Meghan were forced to leave the UK due to racism. Quotes, "We're the most tolerant, lovely country in Europe," he declared, to loud applause. One audience member chastised him and implied he didn't know what he was talking about, as he was a privileged white male. Now, agreed, Mr. Fox won't have the same lived experiences as anyone with a BAME background. But the utterly disdainful and cheap way his remarks, and those of many others, can be blithely dismissed is plain wrong. Is he not allowed a view because he's white? He added, the dangers of throwing racism around can lead to police and other authorities turning a blind eye to appalling events, such as the Manchester child grooming scandal. He could have added Rotherham, Rochdale, Telford and Oxford to that grim tally too. You in a moment, Jeff, on your debut, but you indicated towards Afua, and I heard a sort of groaning and moaning as I was reading aloud. I will come to you in a moment. Jeff, Afua.
Where to start? So I completely agree that it's interesting and useful to hear what someone like Laurence Fox has to say. I'm not interested in no platforming or shutting down someone like him. I think he is an incredibly revealing voice on how privilege works. Because this is a man who obviously doesn't understand what racism is. Racism is not being racist in the sense of sitting there thinking hostile things about people of colour, although maybe he does that, I don't know. Well, racism is a system, and this isn't about blaming white people. This isn't about saying you're white so you are a problem. This is about saying we've all inherited a system that has allocated opportunities and resources unfairly. Now, it's not the only system. Class is another important system that allocates resources unfairly. So I think the idea that this is kind of mutually exclusive, either you're interested in race or you're interested in class, and that white working class boys lose when we talk about racial injustice, it's a complete fallacy. These are all systems that make our society unfair. Now, I, for one, am interested in how we change them. I don't see how somebody who is in Laurence Fox's position saying that he's bored of race is any more helpful than someone like me who's from a middle-class background saying I'm bored of class, I don't think it's a problem, let's not talk about it. We should all respect experiences that we haven't lived that determine our outcomes. Now, what I have a problem with is that he has shown a complete disinterest in understanding the perspective of people who have a different experience to him. And you say he's being shut down. Let's be real. The majority of the time on TV, on these platforms, it is white men shutting down people of colour when we talk about our experience.
I think one of the problems is that it comes from essentially the liberal left, which was a side of politics that when I was growing up was always about don't use pejoratives, right? Don't stereotype by age, race, sexuality or gender. And then it's suddenly also the wing of politics sort of going, well, what about these old straight white guys? You know, so there is a paradox there, and I think that, you know, that moment with Laurence Fox there was seen to be the start of a backlash against what's called woke culture, but was once upon a time called snowflakes, SJWs, the PC Brigade. It undergoes like rebrandings every so often. And to be honest, from a personal point of view, I quite like it because there's never been easier to seem controversial. But I think that saying you don't get to talk about this is not a great offer to the majority of people. And also, you know, similarly on the other side of the debate, you've got some black people saying I'm sick and tired of explaining race. So if you've got one set of people that can't talk about it and another set of people that don't want to explain it, where does an understanding get?
I really disagree with that analysis. He wasn't saying I'm not allowed to. It wasn't that people were saying he's not allowed to talk about it. He was saying I'm bored of it. He was trying to shut down that dialogue.
But the way that she said, white privilege was used to shut him down. She was essentially saying your opinion in this matter isn't relevant. So he wasn't allowed a view on the treatment.
Talking about white privilege is not saying